Welcome to Bobby Top Adventures. I'm Bobby Top, and I'm going to show you what I carry for first aid items on my adventures in the backcountry. I'll start off with a little bit of my background. I was a medic for 22 years in the Army. I am retired, had deployments, all the good stuff. And I just want to go over, I've been asked what I carry in my aid pouch based off of my experience. So I think you'd be surprised at what I carry. But I think it's a realistic kit that that can handle the situations that we need to in riding motorcycle as well as camping in the backcountry. So in a combat zone, best battlefield medicine is superior firepower. It's not about what you're carrying. You have to suppress and eliminate the enemy before you can really do a good job at treating your casualties. In this is obviously not that kind of situation, but similar circumstances, the best battlefield medicine for backcountry hiking, motorcycling, camping is an exit strategy. And so I use a Garmin Mini. I use this as a means of emergency extract as well as communication to my wife so that she knows that I'm doing well, just basics there, but have some sort of system that where you push a button, it stays on you, and you can call for help. So that's the number one thing that I carry. Now, as you can see in this picture, I don't have a lot on my kit when I was deployed. I just had a couple pouches. First of all, every soldier had an IFAK system, meaning they had a cat tourniquet, they had an Israeli dressing, and they had some sort of other things that they carried on them at all times, and it was in the same spot. Everyone could find it. So I didn't have to carry a bunch of stuff when I dismounted. So all I had was a little bit on my chest. When I would have to dismount to treat a casualty, I generally left my big aid bag in the striker and treated with what I had, get them on the striker, and then I could do what I need to, right? So I kind of think similarly when it comes to this. I'm not going to carry a bunch of stuff. One, I don't have a bunch of room, and the likelihood of needing a bunch of it is low. So granted, we're not talking gunshot injuries or blast injuries on this, but you may come into a circumstance where you have that. What's the number one injury in my mind when riding an adventure motorcycle? And you see it all the time: fractured tib fib. So that's the number one injury that I'm looking for is fractures. So fractured tib fib or wrist, arm. So that's the main thing I'm concerned with treating. Not much so the bleeding piece of it, not worried about that on the motorcycle or motorcycle accidents, but more of the camping, because you're out there with knives and hatchets and axes and stuff, and that's where you need to stop the bleeding. Is that so those are the two main concerns that I have, and so my kit basically goes towards that. And so I'll start by just taking this out. So you already saw that I had my Garmin on here that I carry with me. I also carry on me. This is a cat tourniquet, and so I can stop the bleeding with the tourniquet. Here's a good tourniquet, but primarily this also has trauma shears with it. These are small, but I can still expose the wound by cutting off layers. I don't know if these are strong enough to go through boots or anything like that, but some of the straps that hold them together, so I can cut those off. So that's a big piece. Not necessarily a tourniquet. I probably never use this, but it's there if I need it. It doesn't take up much space, and it's light, but the trauma shears that come with it, that's a big piece for me. Because even if I'm dealing with a fracture, I need to expose the area. What I also carry on me, and you're gonna think I'm kind of nerdy about it, but I carry 2 cravats, and I keep them sealed up in here. For one, I mean, there's just plenty of uses. It keeps it clean, but there's multiple uses for this. So it's not just for first aid. I can use these for, just a rag or whatever. It also comes with 2 pins, 2 bobby pins, or I'm sorry, yeah, the safety pins. It comes with 2 of those, and it has a rubber band, and you got the plastic. So there's multiple uses that you can use these for. But mainly, again, if we're looking at fractures, if it's a fracture of the arm, these I use for a sling and a swath. But I can also use them for other things other than first aid. But yes, that's the primary reason that I have them there, is for a sling and swath. That's all I carry there. Now my actual first aid, this is where I'm gonna get the critics coming out. So I needed a bag for my crash bars. I already have one full of my toolkit. I needed another one. And I did need to carry extra first aid stuff also. So here's my actual first aid kit. Just one little Ziploc. It's got, again, things to stop bleeding for when you're around camp. Right? Things for around camp. An elastic bandage, a couple of these. These also help, similar to an Israeli dressing, where you can, when you wrap it tight, it gives you direct pressure for any venous bleeding, but also helps with securing things, splints, for any fractures and stuff like that. And then I just got your basic bandages, a set of tweezers, an emergency blanket, basic stuff, right? I got some moleskin in here too. Yep. So that's the basics that I have there. That's pretty much almost it. I have one more thing, but I've seen a lot where they're like big bulky dressings. You got to carry those, and truthfully, if you're in the backcountry and you're bleeding, a tourniquet or a pressure dressing, which I can also use for the cravats too. Tourniquet or pressure dressing is what you're going to need. A big bulky dressing is just, you're cleaning up, you're preventing a mess, you're not stopping the bleeding. You're covering the wound, prevent infection, but if you're in the backcountry in this type of situation, you're hitting the button if you can't evacuate yourself, but you're going to seek medical care. And truthfully, you're going to get antibiotics. I'm not as concerned about infection unless I'm stuck out here for a long period of time, but a big bulky dressing is not going to prevent infection. It'll keep it covered. Guess what? Those cravats that I have in there, that's going to cover the wound and prevent further infection. So big bulky dressings are just going to take up space. They're blood collection. They're not blood stopping. They're maxi pads. All right, this is where you guys start laughing. Another bandage. Self-evacuation, right? Spare tire. 21-inch. But the primary reason that I love this bag, it's the perfect width. You can see it's staying solid here. Again, treating fractures, one of the number 1 injuries. So I got some SAM splints that I keep in here. That compared to, along with the elastic bandages, this does really well for splinting, tib fib, or any extremity fracture. Pretty solid piece of equipment, piece of kit, and I wouldn't go anywhere without them, especially on this bike. So the primary pieces of my kit are definitely the SAM splints and then stopping the bleeding. I don't consider like medications. I could, basic Band-Aids, other, stuff like that. I consider those part of your hygiene kit. I don't carry stuff just to provide. But that's it. This is all I have in my medical kit, and takes up not much space. Luckily, I haven't had to use it yet, and hope not to. But at least I have it when I'm there. But I'm not carrying a big old aid bag full of stuff. I'm just carrying the basics. Thanks for watching.